guys, thanks for joining me again today. One of the things that I'm always asked about properties here in the Turks and Caicos is financing. So I thought no better man to bring out here than Marcus.Samuel, the country manager of RBC Royal Bank. Marcus, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me.
So I appreciate you coming out. We're at this beautiful setting here on the summit on Blue Mountain. Why don't we just start off? Why don't you give us a little bit of your background and the history of RBC here in the Turks and Caicos?
So, Sean, happy to do so. I've been a 22-year-old banker, meaning I've been in this game for the last 22 years, operating across the Eastern Caribbean. Now being in Turks and Caicos made my last assignment. As you said, yes, I'm the country head for RBC here. RBC in this market, we are the newest kid on the block. We got in here in 2009. So the other retail banks had a leg up on us on that one, but we are aggressively catching up in terms of market share. We are pushing the market and we are open for business.
Very good. And so what are the typical properties that you guys lend against here?
Typically, the space that we've played in is a residential space. We've gotten some great opportunities and we're able to partner with a couple great customers on purchasing their second homes, their vacation homes, and even the locals that are looking for their first purchase, that kind of thing. Yeah, we've typically played in that space and have been pretty successful at it.
So why don't you talk us through a little bit of the pre-approval process and the loan process at RBC?
Sure. The pre-approval process is two type of customers in this case. One, if you're speaking about a non-res customer, your doctor, your lawyer from the US that's looking for a vacation home here, what will be needed? They will need tax returns for the last 3 years, and they would also need a credible report, because ultimately what we want to do is just to look at a math to see can they qualify, right? And once we've determined that from these two documents there, then we can say, hey, mathematically based on what we've assessed here, you can go out and shop for a property for $1 million, $2 million, that kind of thing. So, and that is for your non-res type customer. Your local customer, we really and truly just need to understand your source of employment, your social cash flow, so job letter, pay slip sort of stuff, right? And we should be able to do our credit checks, our local credit checks and so on the ground in the TCI, and should be able to then give them numbers to be able to go out and shop.
Okay. And so Marcus, what are people going to be looking at from an interest rate perspective at the bank?
One of the things I can tell you, Sean, is that we don't lose a deal to pricing, right? So once a customer is a bankable customer, we don't lose a deal to pricing. I mean, of course, risk and return goes hand in hand. So if it is our customer is pushing more into our transaction, we may be able to offer them better pricing, but we're willing to stand up to the competition on pricing on every deal. Yeah? And
then what do you guys typically offer from a debt to equity ratio?
Good question. Two things. One, for a non-resident type customer that's purchasing a second home or investment property, we will generally look to 65-35, yeah? But we've recently had some really great offers for locals where we can finance up to 95% of our transaction. So if you are a local, you're living in Turks and Caicos, your cash flows are here, we can finance you up to 95%.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for somebody, either a non-resident or a resident, who's coming to the bank, they're trying to get their financial affairs in order to make sure they get the best rate and the best terms before they get to the RBC door?
What you want to do for a customer is, we pride ourselves on providing financial solutions and financial advice. So we would be happy that you will come into us and have a conversation with us to understand, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where my life stage is at, right? And then we will walk you through, okay, where are you now? What it is that you would want to achieve in 5 years, 10 years, that kind of thing. How can we help you position yourself now? Is it a purchase? Is it to send the children to school? That sort of things. We provide solutions. So solutions is really and truly what we pride ourselves at RBC.
And then what differentiates RBC from the other commercial banks operating down here?
At RBC, we value the customer. We really and truly because for us, a happy customer makes our processes and the banking situation a lot easier. So as I said initially, we pride ourselves on solution, we pride ourselves on financial advice, right? So it may be that a customer comes into us and says to us, hey, I want to purchase this house, but I also want to buy this new car. And we may, whilst mathematically it may be good enough, we may say you may want to think differently about the car because you told us that in 2 years' time your son has to go off to school, and you may want to take that into consideration. So solutions is really and truly what we look for.
So we're here again at this beautiful summit property, which is going to be a 15 villa development looking out over the gorgeous waters of the North Shore of Providenciales. Talk to us about pre-construction loans, because obviously at the moment there's not a huge amount of inventory in the completed property market, and new development is starting to spring forward again. So is this the sort of thing that RBC are in a position to finance?
Yes, Sean, this is definitely something that we will take a look at. I mean, this property is amazing, and it is something that we will take a look at. So once we've gotten an understanding from the customer in terms of their ability to borrow, what we can do is give them a pre-approval to say, hey, this is what your pre-approval looks like, subject to these conditions right here. We are willing to lend you this money to do the financing on it. I mean, of course, we do have some construction guidelines where we disburse according to progress reports from a certified appraiser. But of course, we're willing to have a conversation around something as beautiful as this.
Excellent. So where does RBC see itself in 5 years' time?
We've been on a journey, Sean. We've been on a journey for the last few years where, for us, we've recognized that banking isn't simply a brick and mortar type activity anymore, where we've gotten to the space where digital is really and truly the space that most financial institutions are playing in now, right? That digital and cashless type journey, we have been on it for the last couple of years, and we will continue to just explore that space and just bring that convenience to the customer, where you can literally sit at home. And we want to get to the space where you can literally sit at home and have a conversation around buying your second home in the Turks and Caicos Islands, right? So that digital journey, we have been on it, and we will continue to explore that avenue.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect direction for where the market is going, because obviously, given the way things have been for the last 18 months, a lot of people are looking more remotely at property. So the more comfortable they can feel reaching out to their banking manager, and that relationship that they have is going to make the whole transaction easier.
Definitely.
Well, Marcus, it's clear to see your passion for this and the direction, and I think your spirit really embodies what I think RBC are trying to do in the market in terms of putting themselves forward. As a new company ourselves, the agency, we can totally appreciate where you guys are coming from, going up against people who've been in the market for a long time.
Definitely.
So I want to say thank you for taking the time with us today.
Thanks, Sean.
For going through anything.
Thanks.
Obviously, if you have any questions about anything that we discussed this morning on lending, pre-approval process conditions, please feel free to drop me a message. I'll leave Marcus's details in the comment section below as well, so you can reach out to him. Be sure to like the video, follow for more incredible properties, to learn a lot more about what's going on in the Turks and Caicos market, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.